Oklahoma dispensaries react to new medical marijuana rules, you guys. And this is a quickie for you guys. On Thursday, new rules from the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority took effect, with rules ranging from secret shoppers to banning the hiring of undocumented workers, you guys. A big rule change for dispensaries is the agency's ability to have secret shoppers come into stores unannounced and inspect the business. In a quote, they're allowed to ask for test results to make sure the products on the shelves are matching the test results from the lab. So there's no false advertising, said Corbin Wyatt, owner of Likewise Cannabis. The intent is to make sure dispensaries are following the rules and not selling to anyone under the age of 21 or those with expired licenses. In a quote, it's just the mentality behind having secret shoppers and always having to feel like you're on your toes. You're being watched, Wyatt said. But with the new rules, Wyatt said that the stakes are higher when it comes to paying business taxes, as cannabis owners have to keep up with it or it could cost them their license. Well, that's with any business. I don't understand why you're complaining about that. That's stupid. In a quote, the Oklahoma Employment Security Commission or the Oklahoma Tax Commission, they would be the ones in charge of that and asserting fines and fees and making sure you're caught up on your payments, Wyatt said. But now the OMMA also has power to refuse to renew a license and things like that if you're not caught up on your taxes. Well, of course they would, you idiot. But whatever. Yeah. Along with the long list of new regulations, an extension on the moratorium on new medical marijuana business licenses through August 1st, 2026. Originally, the moratorium was set to expire in August of this year, and in a final quote, they seem to keep raising it by 2 years every time they do it. They haven't been shy about wanting less operating cannabis businesses, Wyatt said. Well, I think this Wyatt guy just sounds like a big old crybaby personally. And like, that's just having secret shoppers. Obviously, this person is not from the legacy market and had to deal with the possibility of selling to undercover agents or anything like that. So, he's brand new to the space. So he has no mental concept of trying to how to be able to profile his customer base. But nonetheless, I think it's a dumbass reason to be complaining about the state trying to enforce laws and create public safety with secret shoppers. That's just ridiculous because it's going to happen. And nonetheless, this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
This was dumb. There's no news in this. If you don't pay your business taxes, you don't get your business license renewed. Like, that's
right?
Basic knowledge, right? Like, we want to operate like other businesses. Okay, part of that's paying taxes, and yes, taxes suck, and we're highly taxed, and it's not fair, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And cool, more of the same. Where's the news in this article?
Yeah, and also other businesses get secret shopped by state agencies too.
I thought. Well, the reason that I thought I was just like I couldn't believe that someone was complaining about this. That's why I wanted to cover this. I was like,
he's probably gassed up by the Jensens, man. Who is this guy?
Can we check his ancestry and see if they're his cousin or something? Because it sounds that's you're right, Rico. It's probably family. All family.
Secret shopping me? Let me talk to your manager. Let me talk to your manager right now.
Even strip clubs get secret shopped,
Really?
Business does.
Yeah.
Really? They do, huh? Yeah, and everywhere that serves alcohol gets secret shopped. It's part of like the serve safe trading.
Hold on, especially if you're married, you would also be considered a secret shopper in the strip club, right?
Yeah, especially in California where they were.
That's why they don't let women in there without men typically, just in case,
Yeah, in California.
Little Lorena Bobbitt action.
Oh man, that's harsh.
Serving alcohol or full nudity or like fuck that, man. You should have both. See.
And they're making sure that the girls aren't selling drugs in the private rooms.
Right?
Rico's going to sue for equal protection for nudity and alcohol.
Strippers sell drugs? Are you serious?
I'm just saying
not those respectable women.
They have like the tiniest purses.
You can fit like little tiny bags.
Not the one God gave them, Jason.
Bro, they got lockers in the back, Jay. They got lockers in the back.
Oh,
they always have two purses.
So you mean it's like high school? They have a locker in the back, and that's where they keep their stash.
Yes, sir.
And they just keep
Allegedly.
running to the locker. Cute. What do you think about this, Dr. Mark? This Oklahomaness.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw a menu. I think it was from Oklahoma. It was from some Midwestern state. Maybe from Michigan. No, it was from Oklahoma. And it had their top sellers, and they were all like in the 40%, right? We all know that there's no such thing. No weed on planet Earth that analyzes 40%.
Oh, you guys, that's,
it wouldn't even
Sir
smoke.
Dr. Mark,
it wouldn't even
got a new
smoke.
flower. It's 265% THC, 400% terpenes.
Let me guess. Let me guess. The concept for this flower started on a kitchen table, Matthew, and True Leaf is selling it.
It did. I came together with some billionaires at a kitchen table. We all really care about the world. And so we've got a new flower. It's coated with asbestos. It's 1,000% THC.
Oh, man. I love this.
And if you look at the state filings, the Jensens are also on the board, so there's that.
They're shareholders.
That Karen's my CEO. In fact, I have a lab now, too. I do lab testing, and you basically can just tell me tell you how much it's going to cost. Let's go.
So basically,
can I mail my samples in?
If you were to buy some of that in the dispensary, take it to an independent lab, it's going to come back lower. In fact, there's publications that people, secret shoppers, actually not so secret shoppers, are going to dispensaries, buying things, testing them independently, and universally across the board, the results are always lower than what's advertised. What's advertised is just
Dr. Mark, the way they write the regs, I think at every step you can as the THC more between 5 to 10%.
I think it's 5% in California. There's a 5%
it's at a
variable.
couple of different steps along the process, so you get an aggregate of like 10% total.
Yeah, I mean,
take your 32% flower now, it's 40%.
You see,
very important that we.
The biggest problem is scientifically is that a living plant is about 80% to 90% water. Okay.
Yep.
So when you look at those plants in the grow, most of what you're looking at is not THC, it's not biomass, it's water. H2 fucking O, right? So
it's like us.
When you have to report potency based on a dried weight basis, that means you have to dry to 0 water, right? 0 water. So you're basically taking
you have to have Colorado
80%
weed.
of the mass of that plant, removing it, and then analyzing what's left behind. Well, therein lies the big discrepancy between labs, right? How dry is it? Is it totally dry? What they're supposed to do is they're supposed to dry one sample, determine what the percent water is, and the way they do that is they actually determine something called water activity, which they correlate through an isotherm to percent water, and then you're supposed to use that percent water to correct to give potency on a dry weight basis. My biggest problem with this is that you're not buying bone dry weed. You're buying weed that has moisture in it. So why are they testing it to get to the potencies on a dry weight basis when you're not buying something that's totally dry? So now the question is well, how much moisture is acceptable? The more moisture you have in there, guess what? The less THC. If you drive out the moisture, which is a lot of what these labs do, guess what happens to your THC number? It goes up, right? Because when you dry, you're not only removing water, but you're also removing the terpenes, right? Now what's left behind is obviously going to be more. So yeah, it's an artifact of prohibition. But if you're a dispensary owner and you're buying huge quantities of cannabis, and you have one that analyzes for 28 and one that analyzes for 22, which one are you going to buy, right? If you're a processor and you're basically paid on extracting that THC, aren't you going to buy the more potent material? So I think prohibition has basically painted us into this corner where now we have to do potency testing. And if it doesn't match exactly with what, if you're picking the buds, right? You're picking the top of the plant, which is the most potent part of the plant. and now you're going to use that COA on a whole bag of lawn clippings, things aren't going to be cool.
Dr.
So,
Mark, I don't
yeah.
disagree with the thrust of your argument, but I have to say hard no to the fact that it's prohibition, because the prohibitionist phase, you would go over to your friend's house and he would smoke all his different weeds with you and you would choose what you like the best. If we look at the trap game right now, I got friends killing in the trap game and there's not a single number on their package. The brand, so you know what to get. That's it, because people are shopping for quality. Numbers came in the 215 era, which was kind of a bridge from prohibition. All of a sudden, everybody whose uncle had a bunch of money and could get a shop license came in, and those people, the majority of them, didn't care about weed or quality, just wanted to make money. They could get in the game with their little-ass ball sacks. They came in and ruined it, and it only got worse as legalization came in. I agree with you about the numbers shopping, and everything you're saying. I love and respect you. I would just put a hard stop on. I disagree with it. It's prohibition. I think prohibition during prohibition times, quality for the most part was far higher in general, and people were actually smoking and making purchasing options based on aesthetic effects and how the cannabis interacted with it. I, for one, would like to see some sort of like Weed Smokers Council of America come back, which can help people to understand what they're actually looking for and why.
Well,
I love you, Dr. Mark.
Well, and